Advanced Default Dimensions introduces 4 new features to Business Central. Firstly, we've included the Advanced Default Dimensions setup screen, and this includes an assisted setup to streamline the initial setup. We've introduced changes to the lists of master data by introducing the dimensions to the list screen and allow for sorting and filtering by shortcut dimensions. We've also introduced a parent-child link between dimensions, and we've introduced a change in behavior of how dimensions are inherited onto journals and onto documents. To start off with, I'm going to search for the assisted setup page, and I'm now going to navigate to the setup for advanced default dimensions. This screen introduces a wizard that takes us through the initial setup of advanced default dimensions. The first screen allows us to select a parent dimension for a corresponding child dimension, and it also allows us to select the parent dimension value against each of the child dimension values. The next step is going to take us through the behavior of the default dimensions against master data. So we've included a screen for customer, vendors, and items, and this allows us to select which dimensions will be shown on the master data list and card, as well as the default value posting for each of those dimensions. So I've already set this up for customers. The next screen will take me through vendors and then items. When the granule is installed, 2 new permission sets have been introduced, and these need to be assigned to users controlling advanced default dimensions. Finally, I'm going to launch the setup screen and finish off the assisted setup. So this is the screen that controls the behavior of dimensions on cards and lists. You'll notice that for customer, I have set up 5 dimensions. Those dimensions being the customer group, business group, area, sales campaign, department, and entity. I've left the vendor blank for the time being, and I've introduced purchaser, area, and business group onto my item. I have then also set default value posting for each one of those dimensions. So we'll have a look at how that behavior is changed when entering default dimensions against master data. So to demonstrate that functionality, I'm going to run the vendor list. So what you'll notice from this screen is that none of the dimensions are shown by default. This is because I did not set them up for vendors against my advanced default dimension setup. I navigate away from that screen and show the customer screen. Here you will now see that those 5 dimensions I included as part of my customer setup are displayed on the list. I also have the option to filter and sort by those dimensions. The standard Business Central only allows filtering by global dimension 1 and 2, but advanced default dimensions has extended this to the shortcut dimensions as well. If I navigate onto the customer card itself, what you'll notice down the bottom is a new default dimensions tab that has been introduced and is controlled by the dimensions that were selected in my initial setup. These are now available and editable directly from the customer card. To demonstrate the value posting, I'm going to navigate to an item where the same tab has been added at the bottom of the item card based on the setup of dimensions I selected for the item. I'm going to select a few dimensions against this item for the purchaser, the area, and for the business group. I'm now going to navigate to the standard default dimensions screen. What you'll notice here is that by selecting the default dimensions from the card, the value posting option has been set for me. Next, let's have a look at the parent-child dimension links. So to do that, I'm going to navigate to my dimension screen. And over here, we can see that against the customer group, I've introduced business group as a parent, and against department, I've introduced entity as a parent. If I navigate to the dimension values of department, against each of the child dimensions being the department, I've introduced a parent dimension value. To demonstrate that behavior, I'm now going to navigate through to the cash receipts journal. And let's populate a journal and have a look at the dimension behavior. So the first thing I want to show is the customer group code. So this is a child dimension, and it has 4 dimension values available for selection. If I select my business group dimension first, what you'll now notice is that the child dimension has been filtered to match the parent that has been selected on that line. If I select my department dimension code, you can see that the entity code has defaulted through. So by selecting the child dimension, the parent dimension is automatically populated onto the line. This same behavior is available from the sales lines and purchase line documents, where the default parent dimension will be inherited onto the lines. That is an overview of advanced default dimensions and how we've changed the behavior of the default dimension setup and the inheritance onto journals and documents.